Some news and notes going on right now in college football. It's really hard to find a place that's hotter right now. I'm not talking about temperature-wise. I'm talking about they are hot on the trail, whether it's the portal trail or the recruiting trail. Ohio State right now is rolling. They added Caleb Downs from the transfer portal. I think he's one of the best defensive backs in America, an immediate impact player, and an incredible teammate too, one of the most popular guys in Tuscaloosa. So that was a big loss for Alabama, but Ohio State is the beneficiary of him stepping into the portal. Then they go out and they get a top defensive lineman, an elite 2025 target. They go out and there's just a ton of juice right now, and Ohio State and Ryan Day seem to have a ton of momentum right now. It's kind of crazy too. I just wonder, and I've read a lot about Ohio State. It feels like Michigan winning the national championship, it's going to sound backwards, but Michigan winning the national championship has added a level of urgency to Ohio State's NIL commitment that is unrivaled. To go out and to get Seth McLaughlin from Alabama, to go out and get Will Howard, to go out and get Quinshon Judkins, to go out and get the Ohio tight end Will Kamarick. Like, they were able to go out and get some legit dudes in the portal. And then you add Caleb Downs on top of it all, man. Ohio State is hot. And if you look at some of the recruiting services, they have the number one ranked recruiting class in 2025. Or they're going to be in contention for the number one class. Some places have them at like number 5 with just a handful of early commitments. But man, they are really rolling right now. And it was evidenced by them being able to bring in Julian Sayin, the former Alabama quarterback from Carlsbad, California. He transferred after Kalen DeBoer got the job, and then he decided to go in, stayed around, enrolled early, was able to be a part of the bowl prep, work out with the team, was there with the team in the Rose Bowl game, and then Bill O'Brien gets hired by Ohio State as the offensive coordinator, and Bill O'Brien actually offered Julian Sayin when he was at Alabama, so they had a great relationship that had already been established in the years prior, and he was the one that initiated the recruitment of Julian Sayin at Alabama. He gets hired there at Ohio State, and Julian Sayin goes and works for a guy, or will now go and work for a guy that was recruiting him for quite a while. This is a massive coup for Ohio State, and they are so deep at quarterback. I mean, they are so deep at quarterback. 5-6 guys that are all top-flight blue-chip prospects. So the battle for the starting quarterback spot behind Will Howard, who I think's in all likelihood going to be the guy, the battle behind him for who might be the guy next year is going to be fascinating. I found it comical. Let's take a look at this tweet from Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, no stranger to ruffling some feathers, tweets out that Ohio State Buckeyes spent $13 million and counting in NIL money to attempt to field an elite roster. Well, here's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if I were Ohio State, I would lean into that. Like, I've always been baffled by the fact that if you have outrageously deep pockets, you have tremendous booster support, and lean into it. And Lane Kiffin clearly frustrated because I'm sure they were going after the same guys. Clearly his running back, Quinshon Judkins, leaving Ole Miss to go be a part of Ohio State's program. Lane Kiffin clearly ruffled by what's going on at Columbus. But man, if you look at what's happened with the NIL support that Ohio State has garnered in the last 2 weeks, it's off the charts good, man. They always had deep pockets. They've always been in a great position to land top players, but now they're able to retain future NFL draft picks to stay another year because the NIL support and roster retention is so significant. So traditionally, Emeka Egbuka would go to the NFL. Denzel Burke would go to the NFL. Travion Henderson would go to the NFL. They all would have been draft picks. They all would have made a bunch of money next year, but guess what? They can make a bunch of money at Ohio State and chase a championship that is a legacy establisher that can't take away. You also have Tommy Eichenberg, Donovan Jackson, the guard, defensive tackle Tyleik Williams, defensive back Latham Racem, defensive ends Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau out. I mean, they are rolling there. And if you look at their roster, the star players that they've added to that roster, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that's better positioned to take a step than Ohio State here in 2024.